All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm gonna do three on this one. I'm gonna do SoundHound. I haven't covered SoFi in a while. I didn't really realize that, but that was a viewer request. I'll put that in, and then I'll do DXYZ one more time. I'm not the biggest fan of covering a bunch of stocks like day after day, so I might take a little break after DXYZ on this one. But yeah, I thought it was worth one more look at that. All right, so SoundHound. We actually talked a bunch of it on the Discord. I'll show it shortly, but I think there's two really important things here for SoundHound. All right. Number one, I think none of this matters today. All right. And it's really funny that I'm about to make a video and kind of talk about all this, but like, truth be told, it is all about earnings. All right. Earnings is right around the corner. I asked people to give me their best guess of what's going to happen. I provided mine. I'll share that here. Right. But you hear me say it all the time. Earnings can make amazing technicals, and believe me, this is fantastic across the board, right? Earnings can make amazing technicals horribly bad or extremely better. All right, and I'm going to give you my both sides of that coin and just which way I'm leaning towards. All right, so that's going to be the focus for SoundHound. All right, when we look at SoFi, I mean, it's hilarious to me that I thought this was due for a healthy cool down. It does the healthy cool down, but a lot differently than I expected. All right, I don't know if I even covered this around the earnings date, but you know, I've been using the weekly chart a lot on the SoFi video, and I mean, this thing never really came back down to the 200 moving average. It'd be really easy for me to say, oh, look, the wick was there and I was right, but I really wasn't. This wick was a single moment from earnings and then it just continued on. You know what I mean? So crazy strength on SoFi. And I think it was one of the last things I said on the Discord. 17 seems next. I can't find it, but you know, I'll find it later. It feels like 17 is realistic for SoFi here, all right? And then rounding it out is DXYZ. Look, I'm really glad I was loud about this $50 target. Hopefully it did you well. I'll be honest, it did me well. I was greedy. I can't tell you I wasn't. I it's hard to ignore this $100 peak, but there's a reason that was the last line. You know what I mean? And man, it's the same thoughts as last video. This is a crazy high RSI on the daily. I gotta respect that, but my goodness, look at that volume, right? I mean, it's just there's so many things swaying me this way, swaying me that way. This is a very interesting stock to say the least. It's a little reason why I did want to cover it one more time. I think it was a little selfishness. This is interesting to a stock loser like me, I guess. You know what I mean? But before we do go any further though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we gonna do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Plans to start with SoundHound. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So, look, SoundHound, if you've watched my videos before, you know I love talking about the SoundHound technicals, all right? It's going to be a very brief technical review of SoundHound because none of these colorful lines matter too much to me at the moment, all right? I can tell you very quickly and very easily, and I'll give you the reasons why, but everything on the screen looks fantastic, right? Everything look, we're over all 5 moving averages. We have a beautiful divergence. And again, divergence is just a fancy word for going 2 lines going away from each other. I like when the green diverges, goes away from the red one, right? Green's going up. Red's kind of flat to like, you know, barely going up, right? So this is good. RSI, I have a line at 78. It kind of has been our peak, but hey, we're only at 72. there's a lot of room between 72 and 78. And again, this is a good R. And there's definitely a lot of room between 72 and 80, which is the normal wall, right, for the RSI, right? But hey, sometimes you get used to a stock and you adjust, right? So that's why we have that right there. And again, look at this. Volume has just been very, very consistent. A little bit of an outlier, but again, look, this was much, much better than Friday, and you saw me draw a very nice, very sustainable slope. And again, all of them have been over that 50-day line, right? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. The thing is, we are now knocking on the door of earnings. All right, so give me a sec. I'm checking my phone right now. When is it? I think it's tomorrow morning or tomorrow after hours. Dun, 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 dun. You would think I would practice some of this stuff. It's definitely tomorrow. It's on the 12th. Come on, flip it one more time. There it is. It's after hours. So look, I'll say this. I think by me saying good, 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 I think tomorrow morning could be a good day to trade. Now, one thing that's going to happen in the morning is you're going to get a preview of the SoundHound earnings, okay? Generally speaking, those earnings are a little iffy, and what really matters is the actual call, the actual CEO, CFO, whoever it is, standing on the mic and saying their thing, right? So you might see some either analyst stuff or whatnot give you previews, and the market could react to previews. But hey, technically speaking, the morning is set up for tomorrow. We have a line right there, right? So let me zoom out just a little bit. So $7.79 is the current line right now. I think, oh man, another dollar is actually a pretty big move up. But look, again, just on the technical side, the next resistance line up is $8.70, basically a dollar from where we're sitting right now, right? And again, on a normal day, the setup would be there. Earnings, earnings, earnings. All right, let me come to the Discord, because I you can see where that one ended right there. So okay, I kind of said all that stuff right there. Let's come back. I think it was about this one. Any guesses? Sorry. Let's click on this one. Okay. So we start going back and forth, and basically this is the chart, and this is my guess. Look, to me, SoundHound is either going to go to 521 or $9.30. All right. I almost used this line, right? I almost said basically 1060. You can see the line is basically at 1070, right? 1068, whatever. So I almost used that line, but I thought that was just a little aggressive of a gap to fill. What I did was I came to the weekly chart. I saw that roughly that 9 something line was about half of this big candle. I thought that was good enough for me. So that's why I put this screenshot right here, SoundHound weekly, basically somewhere there or back down into the moving averages. All right, that is my guess. All right, now we went a little bit back and forth, and I will be honest with you, it feels like 521 is a little more realistic to me. All right, again, that is 100% opinion based. I for sure have no idea what the guidance was on the last call. I don't know if guidance has been adjusted since. I'm just being a little I'm trying to be unbiased, right? Like that is the goal of the chart readers video, right? Let the lines kind of do the talking. To me, I don't think the last earnings have been good. Again, sorry, I'm going to use my phone real quick because you can see this program doesn't show the dates, right? But I'm going to SoundHound on the daily. So the last earnings was on this day. What day was this? Give me a second. On 8/8. So this candle, this was a big, big candle, and the earnings was this day, yet we basically stayed horizontal the whole time, right? This is basically the market pumping and the NASDAQ going, right? So since the last earnings, it's basically been flat. Hey, flat could be technically okay, but again, whatever, right? The next one was right here or right here. Maybe this doji. That might make sense to me. The last earnings was right here, and hey, though there was a little bit of a peak, again, I can quickly see a good drop after that, right? And then let's go to the one after that. The one before that was up here, basically. It was here, and then we come down. Hey, there was another little run after that. But overall, I think as I look at the movement from the last SoundHound earnings, there's nothing that makes me really think, oh, this is a company that knows their numbers, knows their ins, knows their outs. They can hit their guidance, boom, 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 right? To me, this still feels a little bit like a startup, and I say that with all due love and respect, right? And I think you need to give a little respect to the choppiness of the earnings. And I think that's why I can just see a quick market reaction getting scared. And if that happens, we're basically coming down to the moving averages. I come down to the five somethings. I basically kind of give up these two moving averages if we come down. I don't think we'll lose these three, but yeah, I can see us losing these two. Otherwise, yeah, I think we go halfway to pretty much filling that resistance. So again, this all looks really good. Maybe you can squeeze that. What does the 1 hour look like? Yeah, 1 hour is not that bad. 1 hour still bouncing on the eight. Like I think this has a decent shot to open pretty well tomorrow. Just be careful as we get closer and closer to earnings. And then remember, okay, excuse me, a little hiccup there. Remember this. Earnings is less about what you and me as educated humans think and all about the market reaction. I've seen horrible earnings bring big green candles. I've seen the best of the best, the most optimistic and oh my goodness, earnings just bring red devastation. You know what I mean? So try to put your human, natural, intellectual thoughts aside. Either ride the wave up or avoid the avalanche down. That's generally my thoughts on earnings. All right. So yeah, that's about it here. We're not going to look at the weekly chart. It's all about tomorrow, and then that should pretty much dictate what happens the next 3 months till the next earnings hits. All right. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Let me know your thoughts on the earnings, please. Like, do you like my two targets up and down? Do you kind of agree with me that's going to come down? Are you more optimistic? And let me know why. I'd love to hear your earning thoughts, please, please, please. All right. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, let's come take a look at SoFi. You know, I always say I'm far louder about my mistakes than my victories. All right, I think it's wildly arrogant and a waste of time to like brag for minutes about, oh, I started down here, oh, we're up here, wee, right? Like, no, that's not the game here. I can't tell if I was right or wrong on SoFi. All right, and really, I've been talking about it, and it was all about this weekly chart for me. I am gonna focus here a lot. The one thing I really need to do is I need to delete the lines. I have so many resistance lines. Do I have any more up? I don't. Perfect. But yeah, we pretty much made it and actually kissed over the last resistance line I had here, and that's always a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So let's delete these all, and we'll redraw some educated lines here. So hey, really quick, please, if you can subscribe, if you can share. Oh, it's much appreciated. All right. So the one thing that and I'm saying kind of, maybe being a little generous. Look, when we were around here, the one thing I said was, I think there's still a chance that the chart is overall bullish. But my goodness, again, look at this candle. When you look in the box over there, the RSI was 72. The one, oh no, 79. Oh, maybe it wasn't still. Okay, either way, the point was the RSI, I'm surprised it went up like this instead of down and healthy. All right, I think that really was the point, because just look at this thing, and it's something I actually just did on SoundHound. We've never really passed that, right? That line right there was the peak. We peaked it right there. We peaked it right there. I just didn't think. And you can see that's exactly where we were hitting, right on the newly formed, the very difficult 200 moving average. I'm surprised that we went up and sustained for literally, I mean, another month, you can say it, right? So to me, I think that has me leaning a little bit more, oh, I was wrong here, right? I thought we would come back down to the 8 moving average, bounce like a beast, and then go. This thing said no. We're just gonna stay just a little bit horizontal for a week and then just boom, right? So I'm telling you, I can't tell if I was right or wrong, but hey, the one thing I knew was I wasn't calling this thing bearish, and clearly that is what happened. This thing was trying to. Boom. Okay, so let me take this. 1, 2, 3, even here, 4. That was probably the last one. There were 4 attempts to break all five and fly. All right. This clearly rejects, this clearly rejects, this clearly rejects. Right here on the fifth one, we end up bouncing and bouncing. Okay. When you go from resistance, resistance, resistance to all of a sudden that exact same line is support, support, boom. That's a really, really big technical thing. When a ceiling becomes the floor, the game changes. And hopefully that makes sense to you, right? But the resistance was support. We bounced, we ran, we broke all five and flew. More than anything, we broke all five on the daily and on the weekly, right? When you can do something like that in multiple time frames, this will happen, especially if the S&P 500 is running, especially if the NASDAQ is running. And again, I've always said SoFi likes to be on that fine line of, to me, this is just a bank, right? Like, I know they really like to like play up the technology aspect of it and this and that. And that's kind of why I give them a little bit of, they have the word technologies in their name. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give them a little bit of NASDAQ love, but yeah, to me, this is just a bank. It's actually not that much different than Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever you might use, whatever in between, right? So nonetheless, when your indices are flying, when you're over all five, it's a beautiful thing, okay? The one thing I've been saying across multiple stocks, all right? You know me if you've watched the videos, all right? The reason we have these lower indicators is to make sure we keep things in reality, right? And these are basic. This one specifically is supposed to measure, it's the relative strength index, right? Is the strength a little too hot, or is it just getting ready to go, right? And I have to respect the 79, right? The 80 is generally the number where things have to reset, right? But my goodness, when the indices look good, it becomes a little bit easier to kind of ignore a certain little indicator. You know what I mean? Especially again, you're seeing some nice sustainable growth on the volume. All of these days have actually been over the 50. And not only are these three nice, the slope is actually starting to get a little bit like nicer while it's doing it sustainably, right? So it's some real nice stuff all over SoFi. And again, I start to second guess myself because I just got it wrong here, right? There's a big part of me that says this thing needs to like healthy cool down. To me, this thing needs to come back down to like $12 to 11.90. All right? I do not think we're coming back down to 10, right? We at the minimum losing 1060 is going to be very difficult. And hey, tomorrow the thing's going to probably exponential up because this was a big candle and that was a gap up. You know what I mean? And it still hasn't even caught those yet, right? So I find it extremely difficult to believe we'll lose $11, but I think we have to come back down to 12. That'll help the weekly cool down. Hey, if we can come back down to 12, that'll even help this cool down, right? But hey, the last time we were literally this high, in fact, we were higher, we were at an 87. All the stock did was go horizontal to take us from the 87 down to the what, 50 something? Yeah, right? So this thing knows how to not come down while doing healthy cool downs, right? So yeah, you can tell I'm a little gun shy here. Overall, I am bullish for sure, and it's easy to say I'm very, very bullish over 1250, 1260, whatever number you want to call it, all right? We looked at the weekly a little bit. Again, the point really was the newly formed 200 moving average. I didn't draw it here. I probably should have. I want to draw that. Oh, nice. We just broke that. So let me do it on the daily. Let me make sure that's the right candle on the daily. Give me a second. I'm going to zoom in and look, and then I'll tell you what I'm looking for. So one important thing to me is the IPO resistance. Yeah, it's definitely that. Look, it's the top of this. You can argue it's maybe the bottom, but I'm okay holding this. This is the IPO resistance line, right? This is the first good candle since the day the stock was created. You can argue maybe this thing right here was the line because it's basically half the candle and bottom of that one. I think regardless. 1245 is and that's basically 50% of that candle right there, right? This is an incredibly strong support. I'm gonna make this the golden color right now. I find it very difficult to believe that we're going to lose that line. I could see us coming back down here and very healthy go back up and continue on, all right? I did say it. I was going to show it. Let's just put the number 17. 17 would be next. I was talking about SoFi right there. Where do I see the 17 from? I mean, it's basically this little horizontal right here, right? It's probably somewhere, give or, nope, that's a little too low. Somewhere right there, 1660. Yeah, it's there's a peak right there, peak right there, peak right there. I think 1660 makes a lot of sense to be the next place. And again, green, 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 red, 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 green, green, red, red, green, green, red, red. This could be a fast channel. And I think we just saw the nice little boom right here, the gap up and continue right there, right? So I am really liking SoFi for sure. Oh man, we're already 20 minutes in. Let me make a separate video. I'll cover DXYZ on another one. Hey, I appreciate your time so much.